governing board has reinstated the cop who shot 11-year-old Jordan. Barely look at his face. He's just, wouldn't you love a son like that? I would. I would. How does a little boy like that get shot? Let's give you the reminder. According to Atlanta Black Star, governing board in Mississippi has voted to reinstate police officer Greg Capers, who was suspended after he shot 11-year-old Aderrien Murray, who had called police to his home earlier this year to help resolve a domestic dispute involving his mother. During a special session, the city of Indianola Board of Aldermen voted 4-1 to clear the way for Sergeant Greg Capers to return to duty more than 7 months after the incident. The board also voted to prohibit the release of police body cam footage of the incident. Whose side are you on? That's just my simple question. Whose side are you on? I'm a member of the public and it's too painful and I don't want to look at it. That's my decision. But in an open society where you're supposed to protect everyone and you're working for us, that's not your decision. At least it shouldn't be. Immediately after the May 20 shooting, Capers was placed on paid administrative leave. But a month later, the board voted 4-1 to suspend Capers without pay, pending the outcome of an internal affairs probe and a grand jury investigation, which ended last week with no criminal charges against Capers. The December 21st reinstatement became effective immediately, according to attorney Michael Carr, who represented Capers during the inquiry, on behalf of the Mississippi Division of the Police Benevolent Association. We should talk about the Police Benevolent Association too at some point. And a Black Star with the details. Meanwhile, Aderrien and his family attended the meeting. And as the board voted to reinstate Capers, a surge of emotions overcame the boy, and he had to be taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Now, see, those are real tears and real fear. Real tears, real fear when a little boy who has just learned at 11 years old, perhaps, that the system is not made to protect him. It's not made to protect him. So everything he perhaps learned in school, find an officer, get help, all of that. He's very confused now. Emotions running high and probably did. Absolutely, not just a precaution, need that trip to the hospital. Attorney Carlos Moore told CNN Aderrien Murry suffered an anxiety attack during the meeting, which resulted in him bleeding from his mouth and nose. This unfortunate incident only underscores the deep, ongoing trauma that Aderrien and his family are experiencing. Murry previously spoke about the trauma he faced with CNN.
He said, everybody come out with your hands up. Then I came running inside the living room. Then I remember I heard the big bang. Then I just remember holding my chest.
As he laid in his mother's arms, bleeding out from a gunshot wound, 11-year-old Aderrien Murry was so convinced he was going to die, he began to pray to God and sing gospel songs.
I was thinking like I'm going to die. Tell my whole family, tell my teacher. I say I'm sorry for what I did.
Aderrien's mother says he developed a collapsed lung and suffered fractured ribs and a lacerated liver due to the gunshot wound. He spent days in the ICU at the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson, needing a ventilator to breathe.
It came right here.
More than a week since the shooting, he is remarkably in good spirits, but says sometimes when he's alone with his thoughts for too long, he has nightmares.
Sometimes I can see myself laying inside the coffin. Them are my thoughts at night, my only ones. And sometimes I think people are watching me. But my main thought is me dead.
If that officer was here, sitting right here across from you, what would you want to tell him, Aderrien?
Why did you do it? I could have lost my life. all because of you. I want you terminated for what you did to me.
As a journalist who's interviewed so many people, I can tell when someone's been coached. Not this kid. There's a lot going on, a lot of thoughts, and with all due respect to the reporter, it's a comprehensive report, but I don't see an 11-year-old who's, quote, remarkably in good spirits. I see an 11-year-old who's forever changed and will never be the same again. Already traumatized by a domestic violence situation, and history tells us it had to be going on for perhaps some time in his life. He'll never call the police again. That is my prediction. And why would he? No one's in trouble. The officer, and again, it doesn't matter what color the officer is, it's about the system and who gets the benefit of the doubt, how quickly they act. They're beyond reproach. Officer probably even got back pay. Okay, you got to understand how these things work. They look good in a little newspaper heading and reporters who don't do much digging beyond it. But you got to understand how these things work. Probably got all the back pay because they don't want to set a precedent here for anything less than the officer shall be exonerated. A little boy forever changed. Who could he have been had this not happened? I think about all these things, Mayor.
Yeah, my first job was the Marine Corps, the United States Marine Corps. And this kid sounds like some of my fellow Marines who've been in war. He was shot at 11. Why does a kid know what that big bang and then the next step to hold the bullet wound? How is that okay in this country? How do you know that this child live in this town, Indianola, and also have that cop still serve? Where is the thought with this kid, the trauma? This is the epigenetic trauma I've talked about, what it means to be Black. Not to mention, when I heard this kid say, I just saw myself in the casket, all I could think about is he lives 30 miles from where Emmett Till was killed in Drew, Mississippi. Indianola is 30 miles up the street where 14-year-old Emmett Till was murdered. And it does not look like there's any different right then. Back then, the Mississippi State Bureau of Investigation investigated that. This time they had an internal probe, and then both of them gave us the same outcome. A little Black boy shot and could have been killed. And in one case, the little Black boy was killed, shot several times, and then a lot of other things. But what we see is Mississippi, Dixieland, America, from Canada to Mexico, damn sure don't care about little 11-year-old boys. And if they did, there's no way this guy would be an officer anywhere in this country.
Yeah, you said it so well, so eloquently. You know, there's this saying, Mayor, where health is wealth. You know what else is wealth? Hope. Not only do you shoot my baby, okay, a great kid. Could you not tell the things he was talking about, thanking and apologizing to his teacher for whatever he did? Really? This kid? You shot him, and then you told him he didn't matter. You shot him again in the system. Where's the hope? Why should I work hard? Why should I dream? That's the biggest fear here, okay? He knows very well it could happen again. That's why he pictured himself in a coffin. He believes he dodged death this time at age 11, having done nothing wrong. Who might he be if we would get rid of this systemic racism, these systems, these descendants of slave patrols? Who could he be? Maybe he will cure cancer. Maybe the next time we have a pandemic, he could be the one to get that vaccine. Who could he be if you would just lift this burden from him and the rest of Black America? Couldn't we all benefit? I mean, I'm being too hopeful, Mayor. I'm being too dramatic, perhaps. But that's just the way I think about this really disgusting stuff.
Yeah, I don't think there were any dramatics in your statement. I think that's a great question. And the sad part about it is this kid is still searching for answers. He didn't have any hate for the officer. When he was asked, what would you say if this officer was here? He didn't say, I would say I hate you or I wish you were gone. He said, you deserve this, have consequence to your actions. You shot an 11-year-old unarmed kid who called you for the protection of his mother. You shot him. and you still get to keep your job. So this kid is asking for why. Now we've built another black man, a little boy right now, but that will become a black man that cannot sit alone in his room with his own thoughts from the fear of thinking about death.
Mm-hmm. And he's learned that.
And we don't believe America is broken.
And he's learned that he doesn't deserve justice, not in the American way.